All right, we are back with another high ticket sales role play. We're going to jump into an offer that is wholesale real estate coaching, mentorship, and training for someone that has a 9 to 5 that wants to learn how to make money in real estate with all of the typical rigmaroles of getting into that industry. Jay is going to be the closer. We're going to go through the discovery and figure out the different nuances that you need to master as a salesperson so you can make more money in sales. Bart is going to be the prospect for us. So without any further ado, let's crack in, Jay.
So, Bart, got your application, got all those details. So I'm curious, in your opinion, what's the biggest reason you want to start a wholesale business right now?
Yeah, it's a good question, Jay. I recently graduated college and just working in the family business right now. It's a very corporate kind of feel, and it's decent, excuse me, decent pay. But I've just always wanted a little bit more, kind of to forge my own path. And I've tried different things, like trading and drop shipping and stuff. I know there's a lot of different ways to make money out there, but I've got some friends that are a bit older and they've done wholesaling with a lot of success. And, I see the kind of lifestyle they live. And yeah, I mean, it seems pretty straightforward. I get the model, and just the other stuff, I didn't really vibe with. So, I want to check out wholesaling.
Okay, got it. So you recently graduated and you're working with the family business right now, and you've tried a couple of things like drop shipping, day trading in the past that didn't work, but now you're looking to start in wholesale. Is that accurate?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Pause.
And
Pause. Anything that you missed in the summary, Jay?
decent,
Decent income. That's a big
decent
one.
pay.
Two more.
Mm. This is the part I'm trying to cut my summaries down. So,
So he said decent money. Well, decent is not great. He said
okay.
corporate, which was a very subtle one. Oh, it's a very corporate thing. I mean, typically people don't say that in a positive way. And the third one is he said, I want to forge my own path. The fourth thing he said, which I would actually put above those three, was he sees some of his, I think he said friends, but people he knows, and the lifestyle that they live is something that appeals to him. So that was kind of the problems. Then when
Hmm.
we get into the causes of those problems, that's when you would shift into he's tried some different things like drop shipping. His specific words were, I didn't vibe with it. Okay. So that
Hmm.
would be the final thing you would say. But the first bits are what are the problems? Okay. So you work
Yeah.
in the family business. It's just decent money. Sounds like it's pretty corporate. You're not forging your own path. And the lifestyle that you've seen some of your friends live by doing whole estate real estate sounds like that's pretty different to what you've got going on right now. Is that all accurate? Yes, understood. And you also mentioned that you didn't vibe with some of the things you've tried before, like drop shipping. Is that clear? Yes, cool, understood. I'm starting with the pain, the problems, decent money, corporate, not forging his own path, and he's seen other people living a lifestyle that he wants to live. You got to lead the conversation with the pain and the problems. That sets the tone for what your next questions are going to be, as opposed to if you kind of do a jumbled summary, you're not you're not in the energy space with the prospect of we're on a sales call to talk about what's fucked. We're not on a sales call to
Hmm.
just talk about the situation. We're specifically pointed at what's broken and how badly is it broken. And I'm going to hold your feet to the fire that that's what's going on. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense. When you get into like decent pay, would you say something like, um, because decent can mean a ton of different things, but like you're not making the kind of money you want to be making.
In the summary, I wouldn't say that yet. I would just say, okay, you said you're just making decent money. Key thing that I slightly
J-
twisted it by saying
yes.
just decent money, pretty corporate what you're doing, not forging your own path, and you've seen other people doing wholesale real estate that are living a lifestyle that sounds like it's of appeal to you. Is that accurate? Yes. I would actually do a double summary on this one because he said a lot. So I would summarize all the pain, say, is that accurate? He says yes. And then I would actually summarize the cause or what he's been trying in the past. And I'd say, and you also mentioned you've tried some things in the past like drop shipping, but you didn't vibe with them. Is that accurate too? Yes. Okay, cool. By chunking it into two things, it allows me to really lead the prospect through the steps that we're starting with the pain and the problem. And we will obviously get into why you're in that situation later. I wouldn't do that if his summary was very short, if his response to your opening question was very short, but he gave a lot of stuff. So I'm trying to, piece it all together as we go. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense.
Beautiful. So then the decent money thing absolutely could start with a question on that. I'd say, so when you say it's just decent money, how much exactly did you take home last month? 2000. Oh, 2000. Understood. And I'm just going to use the data, the numbers, to explain what he means by decent. I'm not going to do it from a linguistic point of like, hey, when you say the word decent, what do you mean decent? I'm not going to do it that way. I'm just going to say, you said decent, so how much exactly did you make? Okay, understood.
Okay.
If I felt like I need to nail him down more, I could say, so you made 2000 and why in your mind is that just decent? Why is that number just decent money? But I would start by getting the hard number before I even consider trying to understand his mental model of why that's decent. Does that make sense? Just being more efficient.
Yeah. Okay. So with the summary, it's like, okay, Bart, so you said you're making just decent money working with the family business right now, but you're not really forging your own path, and you see other people in your life doing wholesale who are having success with it, and now you want to give that a go.
Beautiful. You missed corporate. And
Corporate,
the
yeah,
only other
yeah.
thing that you don't want to do is you said not really forging your own path. Cut out the word really. And you're not forging your
Okay.
own path. It's
Okay.
so subtle, but it makes a massive difference in the vibe of the call. If you say not really forging your own path, he's like, yeah, not really. And he can now step into rationalizing because you're kind of rationalizing what he said. If he
Yeah.
had said, I'm doing blank, 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 and I'm not really forging my own path, then you would have to say, not really forging my own path. But he said, and I'm not forging my own path. So just say, not forging my own path.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Keep going, Jay. Good stuff.
So, Bart, you're working with the family business and you're just making decent money. You feel like it's a corporate kind of lifestyle. Sorry, and you're not forging your path, forging your own path. You see other people in your life doing wholesale real estate and having success with it, and now that's something you want to get into yourself. Is that accurate?
Yeah, yeah, that sounds very accurate.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Pause. We're on a role play, guys, but did anybody notice what Bart was doing?
Just looking away
Why was he looking away?
because I was mumble jumbling it.
100%. And it's a role play, guys, but Bart's, even as a role play, Bart's like, can we just get to the point? So if it was a real prospect that's like, hey, this is my actual time that I'm not, scheduled for sales training, I've got other things to do, you got to be on the ball. Okay, got it. So you're only making decent money. It's very corporate what you're doing. You've seen other people doing wholesale real estate, living the lifestyle that you want to live, and you're not forging your own path. Is that accurate? Beautiful. Understood. You also mentioned that you've tried some things like drop shipping, but you didn't vibe with them. Is that clear? Okay, got it. Understood. So, and like we're moving. We're fucking moving. We're not going that slow. Otherwise, the prospect will do that. Okay. So even as a role play, watch the reaction of the prospect. And that
Okay.
gives you clues of like where you're going wrong. You said all the right things, and this is not tonality training, guys. It's you got to say all the right things, but your vibe, your state has to be sharp as a tack. If you're not sharp, if you're not on the ball, people are going to tune out. And the crazy thing is, the moment they start tuning out, when you ask your next question, they're not really that invested in answering the question because they're already not taking you that seriously. They're already tuned out. All right, keep going, Jake.
Okay. So, Bart, you also mentioned that you've done drop shipping and a couple other side hustles in the past that didn't work out. When you say you made decent money, how much did you make last month working with the family business?
Yeah, last month with a family business, I mean, it was take home was about 8K.
Okay. That was take home in the month of July. How much did you make in the month of June?
So,
I was the same.
sorry, Bart.
The same?
Contextually, why, if it doesn't, is that question maybe not as relevant to a different industry, Jay? If we were selling business
What is that?
something, how much did the business make this month, last month, the month before?
It's
That makes
probably
total
more
sense.
consistent because I could just ask like, okay, is that like on a structured pay? Like, is that typically an average income you bring in every single month?
100%. Contextualizing the questions, we're probably not going to go this month, last month, the month before, because
Yeah, the lead flow is
sounds like
not
he's got a job.
fluctuating or anything. Yeah.
He's not running a business. He's not doing commissions. Now, maybe he is. So I would say, okay, when you say you made decent money, how much exactly did you make last month? I made 8K. Understood. And where does that money come from, Bud? Is that a fixed salary? Is that commission? How do you get paid? Oh, it's just a fixed salary. Okay, understood. So how long has your salary been 8K a month? 2 years. Okay, got it. So when you say decent money, you've just been making 8K a month for the last 2 years. Is that accurate? Yes. Beautiful. Now I've got what I needed in 3 questions, as opposed to this month, the month before, the month before that. Is that profit? Is that, whatever? It's like you need those chunking downs if we're selling something to a business. But if it sounds like someone has a job in the family office, you would ask them, what exactly did you make last month? I made 8K. And how is that structured? Is that a fixed salary? Do you get commission, bonuses? How does that work? Oh, it's just a fixed salary. Okay, understood. So how long have you been, I guess, just at decent money at 8K a month? Oh, it's been 2 years. Beautiful. Does that make sense contextually why we have to think what we're asking?
100%. Yeah.
The information we need is his clarity of decent money. How we get there depends on the prospect and depends on the situation. And these things seem subtle, guys, but this is when prospects check out. They're like, oh, Jay's just running his usual July, June, and May scripted questions. I don't really know why we're doing that. And then the prospect tunes out because the way you've heard someone do the numbers on a script is, month by month by month. Well, that's one way to do it with one situation, with one context, guys. That's why you have to learn scriptless selling, because otherwise you're trying to put everybody into the same bucket. And some people will be fine because luckily they're in that bucket, and other people won't, and they'll just tune out. Okay. Good stuff, Jay. Keep going.
Mm,
On
okay.
some of these pieces of feedback, if you want to redo it, you can. If you don't want to, we can just keep moving on. It's entirely your choice. I'll just keep up with you.
Okay. Cool. And so that 8K you brought home last month, is that like a typical salary that you're just making on a month-to-month basis with that job?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Gotcha. And how long you been doing that for?
Don't say
I've
doing
been
it,
in,
because
How
are we
long have
asking?
you been working the family business?
You could do that, but what's the problem? The problem
The
isn't
problem is not
family
forging his own
business.
path.
Well, the problem is decent money, corporate, not forging his own path, and as a result of those 3 things, not living the lifestyle he wants. So, keeping the conversation on the problem, all of our questions need to be focused on those things as opposed to more generalized information like how long have you been in the business? Okay, so I would focus on, so when you say, it's just a blank salary, how long have you been earning that amount of money per month in the business? Keep all your questions focused on the pain. Okay.
Okay.
Are you okay, Jay? Am
Yeah,
I
I'm trying.
overwhelming you?
Maybe a little bit. I've been trying to cut down. I'm like trying to do all this the work and it doesn't make it's not efficient. Like I'm gathering data just to gather data. And it's yeah, it's just the like the what did you make the month before is just a habit because I've heard that so many times. Um so
But what's bothering you?
I feel like I'm not on the ball right now.
Do you want to take a minute? What do you want to do? Do you want to take a minute? Do you want to swap over to someone else to role play? Up to you. There's no pressure. What do you want to do?
you got this, Jay.
No, I'm gonna keep pushing. I'm gonna
You
slug
sure?
some water and keep going. Mm-mm.
Do you want to take a walk for 10 seconds? Just stand up, go around the room and come back. No, I'm
I
serious.
think
Just change
no,
your
I
state. Stand up,
no,
take a
you're
deep
right.
breath,
Like
stretch, and
I'm
just
pretty sure I have COVID right now because my brother just I think he just gave me COVID. So that could have
well,
something to do with it.
that's a different story. We'll have to get the ambulance there. All right, brother.
I've got all the shots. I've got all the vaccines.
You you've got this. All right,
I've
let's go
been
back a little
matrixed.
bit. Let's go back. Let's get some momentum. Let's go from the opening question, but I want you to be exactly the same prospect. So all
Mhm.
Jay's got to think through is what we've trained on so far. Can you do that? Beautiful. All right, Jay, go from the opening question. Let's slow down to speed up. Just go step by step by step. Let's go through the different things and then I'll coach you through it. You got this.
Cool. Bart, what's the biggest reason you want to start a wholesale business right now?
Yeah, good question. I just graduated college a couple years ago, been working in the family business. It's pretty corporate and decent pay. Um, and I feel like I'm not really forging my own path right now. I've also tried some other things like drop shipping and trading. But then I have some of my friends that are in wholesaling. They kill it, and I just see the lifestyle that they live. And the other things just didn't really, I don't know, they just didn't really vibe with me. So, I understand the model with wholesaling. I see what they do and, the lifestyle that they live. So yeah, I'm interested in giving this a real shot.
Got it. So you're working the family business right now and it's pretty corporate. It's too Josh, I'm fucking I'm trying to get everything right. Like that's what I'm
Just
screwing
make some
up.
note. Just I wouldn't remember it, Jay. Like I've written, it's not very clear, but like corporate, decent money, forge your own path, lifestyle they live. Just jot it down. Just jot it down in short form. I wouldn't remember it if it's not in front of me. I've just written it down. As he's
Yeah.
talking, look at what he says and say, okay, corporate, decent money, and just jot it down and then slow down. Don't overwhelm yourself with I have to get it all right in terms of, building a rocket ship. It's just, okay, I'm just listening to what he said and I'm just very methodically structuring what he says as I write it down. Does that make sense?
No, it does. It it's like the
What's up?
it's just it's the state like I know I don't have to be perfect and get everything right. It's just in certain instances like this, it's like for some reason I'm having difficulty like focusing on the key things that he's giving me. Um like in trying to keep everything in order. Um
What are you struggling with what are you struggling with that? When you hear Bart say something, are you not hearing the words in terms of that's a pain point, that's not a pain point, or is it that you're hearing it but then you don't have time to write it down, or what's going on?
Yeah, it's like he tells me something and then I go to write it down and then have trouble listening to what he's saying while trying to track um what I'm writing down. Like
Okay,
I'm
let
writing
me
down pretty corporate and then decent pay and then
so
he's continued to talk and I'm like,
like this is an interesting thing that might help you with the mindset is when we're reading a book, we're not actually reading the letter that our eyes are looking at letter by letter by letter by letter by letter. What our brain is actually doing is it's able to see like three lines, like the whole width of the sentence, the whole width of the book, and like three lines. And our brain is actually scanning a much larger surface area than we really think it is. And so when you're listening to Bart talk, you got to understand that your brain is so much more powerful than you think it is. Why you're struggling to tap into that power is you're tense. You're tightened up. You're like anxious about it. And when you're anxious about it, your brain isn't able to use all of its resources. Whereas if you just were having a normal conversation with a normal human being. It wasn't a role play. It wasn't, in front of everybody on the training. As someone's talking, you are able to listen to what they're saying and write and keep up with what they're saying. The only reason you're not currently able to do that is because you're tense. That's why I said before, stand up and just shake it off and just chill out. Let me do an example with Bart, and I'll tell you what I'm writing down as we go, so you can see, it's not that complicated. So Bart, I'm going to do the opening question. Be the same prospect.
Okay.
Did you say biggest reason, Jay, or biggest challenge? I forget your opening question. Biggest reason you want to get into wholesale real estate right now. Is that what you said?
Yeah, biggest reason.
Beautiful. So Bart, in your opinion, what would you say is the biggest reason that you want to get into wholesale real estate right now?
Yeah, good question, Josh. I would say, the biggest reason is that I graduated college a couple of years ago, been working the family business.
Pause. So I write down graduated. I would probably just write, I would personally just write business, which the moment I see the word business, I remember it as family business. So I've written down graduated, business. Keep going, Bart.
Yeah, I've been working the family business, although it's very corporate, decent pay and everything.
Pause. I just wrote down the word corp, C-O-R-P. Decent. I wouldn't even put the word money, because for me, when I read decent, I'm just going to remember money. And this is what I'm saying, Jay. I'm not writing any of this in long form. I'm just writing down the word decent. And you got to trust your brain that when you look at that decent, you're like, oh yeah, he was referring to decent money. Okay, keep going, Bart.
Yeah, the pay is decent. And I've tried some other things like drop shipping. I just don't feel like I've been forging my own path,
Okay, pause.
Josh.
Pause. So I wrote down the word tried, and then I may or may not write down drop or drop shipping next to tried. Then I wrote down forging path. So can you see how shorthand this is, Jay? Like I've rewritten it all again there, right? So I've got all of the little bits there. Ignore everything here and ignore everything there. Just shorthand. And so as I'm listening, I'm just listening for those key words: graduated, business, corporate, decent, tried, drop shipping, forged path, and then there'll probably be like one or two other things. Does that make sense, Jay? Like, don't try and write down everything he's saying. Just little jotting down notes. Okay? All right, give it another go. You've got this. All right, let's go back to the opening question and just take a breather, slow down, chill out. Everything's going to be fine. All right, whenever you're ready, Jay.
Cool. So Bart, what is the biggest reason you want to start a wholesale business right now?
Yeah, Jay, I'd say the biggest reason, well, I'll tell you, I graduated a couple years ago and been working my family business, which is pretty corporate. The pay is decent, but I just don't feel like I'm forging my own path. And I've tried some other things like drop shipping and day trading, but I just didn't really vibe with those. And I see my friends. I've got a group of friends that do wholesale, and they're all killing it. I just see the lifestyle that they live, and I understand the model. It makes sense to me. So I just feel like that's more aligned with what I want to do.
Okay, beautiful. Pause. Have you got those things written down, Jay, as far as notes? Do you think you captured pretty much everything in short form?
Yeah, like graduated, biz, corporate, decent, forge path, drop trade, friends, wholesale, and then lifestyle.
Beautiful. So then what you want to do so you don't stumble is take a minute, not a whole minute, but take a moment, and before you respond, before you come up with your next question, just look back through what he said. So in my head, not saying it out loud, I'm thinking, okay, graduated, family business, corporate, decent pay, forging path, day trading. I put the word vibe next to day trading. Group, I didn't even write the word friends. I just put group. Lifestyle, I also put killing it. And I'm looking through those things. I'm thinking, okay, let me think what's going on here. So this dude's just graduated. He's gone into his family business. And that's what I'm doing in my head. I'm now looking through my notes and thinking through what's going on. Because what you got to understand with sales is your job is not to speak. Just keep talking, keep asking questions. Your job is to be someone that can unpack things and distill things and understand things. That's what you get paid for. Once you start understanding things, you then use questions as a very small piece of your tool belt to fill in the extra gaps. Okay, I've got this picture here. I want to get a little bit more zoomed in over here. I want to see if there's anything over here. And you're painting, you're building this picture. Your job is not to just talk as quickly as possible. Your job is to understand. But as you understand, if you do truly understand, you want to sound certain. Okay, understood, Bart. So you graduated, you're in the family business, it's pretty corporate, only decent pay. You don't feel like you're forging your own path. Day trading, you tried that, didn't vibe with it. You got a friend group, they've got the lifestyle you want, they're killing it. Did I get all that right? Beautiful. And notice the way I'm speaking, Jay. It's very truncated, which means boom, ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. And I'm just very methodically working my way through it. But as I'm talking, it's very punchy. It's not that I'm just speaking quickly and rambling. It's that I know the points because I wrote them down and they're what Bart told me. So as I'm speaking, I have a lot of certainty. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. And I think when I review my calls, I think this is what I've been seeing is I'm trying to get the answer out quicker. And I'm trying to move the conversation faster. Like I wanna stay on time and get to the pitch on time. Um and I think I think it's actually taking longer in the call because I'm trying to move it faster.
And it will take longer because the key word that you used is trying. Your job as a salesperson is not to try. Your job is to allow things to unfold. You're having a discussion with with someone. You're not trying to push something. So the more you try, and this is basic physics, the more you put a force that way, a force is going to push back against you that's equal. Whereas if you're just allowing things to flow, to naturally unfold, it's just gonna skyrocket like that. It's just gonna fall out exactly as you need it to fall out. Okay. So you got those points. Now I would recite them back in just short form. Notice how I wasn't even doing my summary in long form. My summary was just graduated, family business, pretty corporate,
Mm,
decent pay, not forging your own path, tried day trading, don't vibe with it. Group of friends, got the lifestyle you want, killing it. Is that accurate? Yes. Even if I spoke like that, the prospect would be fine with that. Because what
yeah.
they care about is not that you're fucking Shakespeare and that you've got, you're reading Hamlet. They care about your accuracy. They don't care about you sounding like a fucking poet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's more like, okay, so
Like just
Bart,
try
you
that.
graduated.
Hang on, pause, Jay. Try it literally just saying the bullet points. So instead of saying, okay, Bart, so you graduated, just say, okay,
Mm,
Bart, graduated in the family business, pretty corporate, decent pay, forged your own path. Just say it like that, and you'll see that it feels fine.
okay.
Try like that.
Graduated
Well,
family business.
you got to pre-phrase it with. So to make sure I got this right, Bart, you graduated, ba-boom, ba-boom,
Okay.
ba-boom.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
got to pre-phrase it, but you don't have to tie it all together with sentences.
Yeah. To make sure I got all this right, Bart, you graduated family business, corporate, decent pay, want to forge your own path, done drop shipping and trading. Friends are killing it doing wholesale real estate. You want to live that lifestyle.
That sums it up.
See, the only thing I would add on the end is that accurate? You got
Is
to
that
just add a
accurate?
question on
Yeah.
the end. Did I get that right? Is that accurate? Is that correct? But like that was actually so much more persuasive than the way you were talking before. And so you could ask the question, get the information, write it down, look at look at your notes, see what you've got, and then know that you're about to talk and say, so let me check that I got this right, Bart. Graduated, family business, very corporate, decent pay, forging your own path, that's not happening. Tried day trading and drop shipping, don't vibe with them. Got a friendship group, they're living the lifestyle, killing it. Is that accurate? Yes. So you can do it like that. Does that make sense, Jay?
Yeah, it does. I'm just making a note.
What are you making a note of?
That, I mean, just the things I need to practice. Like as I go back into my call reviews, like I'm gonna listen to their open response and then practice giving the summary in concise, short, bulleted answers.
Beautiful. All right, let's keep going from there. So we'll imagine you've already done the summary. So where would you go next?
Okay. So let's start with the decent pay you mentioned. How much did you make last month?
Last month I made about 8K just take home after taxes.
Okay. Take home after taxes. And is that something you have set up in working for the business? Like that's a monthly pay system?
Yeah, it's a salary.
Okay. So 8K salary. And
Pause, Jay.
so,
Your whole vibe right now has completely changed. Like you're so much more grounded and chill. I just want to say, stay in that state because I've done this before. You get coaching, you chill, you get into a much better state, and then we kind of fall out of it. We kind of like slip back into getting anxious and getting stressed. What you're doing right now is perfect. So just stay in that.
can I ask a question about that?
Go for it.
Did you feel the state shift and then start to see it like or like
No, no, I didn't see it shift out. No,
okay.
I felt your state change into what it needs to be. And as you're going to start going deeper into the discovery and ask your next questions, you could accidentally go back into going through the motions. And when you're going through the motions to just go through the motions, you're not grounded.
Mm.
Whereas what you just did for the last 60 seconds, very grounded. So I didn't see it start to happening. I'm trying to coach you before it happens so that you're now going to put your conscious awareness of breathe, chill, stay with Bart, understand what's being said, write my notes, think through things, ask the questions, just stay in that very present state. Because what you
Okay.
did there was beautiful. Okay, so keep doing that.
So you have the 8K monthly salary. You mentioned that it's just decent. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, good question. I mean, it's paying the bills and I'm able to keep up with my friends, with some things, but not totally.
Okay. In what way are you not able to keep up with your friends?
Well, like when it comes, I can go out with them, get dinner and maybe do something on the weekends, but they're always like taking out boats on the lake and traveling and just just enjoying life, way more. And, again, like it's decent pay. It provides me a level of comfort, but it's just not, it's not the level that, I want to be at. I want to be where they're at.
Hmm. So you're missing out on the boats and the traveling. Is there anything else you're missing out on?
The girls.
Okay. In what way are you missing out on the girls?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, they're setting up this like fun life and that's just like attracting a certain level of female attention, I would say that I'm just like I'm just working the 9 to 5. I'm not like the interesting guy who's killing it, right? So it's just it's less options.
Okay, so less options with girls. You're not able to travel, go on boat trips. Why are you not? I mean, you said, sorry, maybe I'm slipping back into this,
No,
but
You're good.
I think I know where you're going to go. So
I was
try it.
gonna say, you you said I was like, you're not a killer. That's like the word I was trying to remember, but
No, it's just like my friends are I mean, I think I got the killer in me. I'm just not doing like what it takes right now to be where they're at, with like that lifestyle.
why not?
I'm just not making the kind of money and I don't have the time freedom that they do.
Okay. And these friends, they're all doing wholesale real estate. Is that accurate?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long they been doing that for?
No. Everything up
No.
until now, so good, Jay. So on point, so crystal clear. What would be a better question to ask based on what he just said? Because what you've done right now is you've led him to a very, very clear conclusion. Your life isn't where you want it to be. Let's get some specifics. Don't have the girls, don't have the travel, don't have the boats. Understood on that. If I'm clear, all of your friends are doing wholesale real estate and they are doing this thing, which is giving them this lifestyle. Is that accurate? Yes. So what's the bridge in between those two, Jay? That's like, are you not confused by something when you hear what Bart just told you?
Well, I'm confused, but maybe I don't need to. Maybe I'm dancing around it too much. Like I'm trying to gather more data, but like, okay, um, well, why haven't you gotten into wholesale real estate? Like,
Exactly. Like the obvious question is, so your friends have a lifestyle where they're killing it, and you have this hidden
mm,
insight that you know exactly what they're doing. So my curiosity, Bart, is why aren't you just doing exactly what they're doing?
okay, I
Like
would
that
because
would be your obvious
in
question.
my mind I'm thinking, well, how long they've been doing that for? And it's like, why haven't you done that? But I guess yeah, that's
It's
kind of a
it's not a
question
bad question. It's just
you can just
it's
get to the
taking,
truth quicker.
and the reason you need to get to the truth quicker is what you just, excuse me, what you just did up until now was building up the steam. It was like it was getting hotter and hotter and hotter and more uncomfortable for Bart. That question of like, so how long have they been doing it? It's like a diversion into like kind of tangent information. Like, well, how long have they been doing it? As opposed to keeping his feet to the fire of like, okay, Bart, so all of your friends in this group are living exactly the lifestyle that you want: the girls, the travel, the boats. Is that accurate? Yes. And they're all doing wholesale real estate. Did I get that correct? Yes. So why aren't you doing it? Now he's like, oh, shit. Like, yeah, why aren't I doing it?
Yeah, because with
Like the
any other
pressure is
question,
on him.
Bart's starting to think,
Mhm.
oh, okay, we're still on the topic, but the closer's starting to kind of move away. Like I don't feel as much pressure. So he's not gonna go
Mhm.
there. He's gonna pass by it and wave, but he's not gonna go right
Exactly.
into the heat.
The most real question that you could ask Bart at this moment is, and contextualizing the question, they have the life you want. They're all doing this. Why aren't you doing it? Like
Hmm.
that's the most real question that you could ask him at that moment.
Okay.
Okay. And
So,
sorry, one other thing. What's interesting is that we haven't gone deep enough into the pain yet, but this is where scriptless selling is kind of circular, meaning we've got the opening to the pain, the girls, the travel, the boats. Makes sense. Also, the fact his friends are all living that life. So there's a competitiveness about that. There's a jealousy and enviousness. We're now going to transition into, well, why aren't you doing it? And he's going to say a rationalization, most probably. Well, I'm not doing it because of blank, blank, blank reason. Okay, understood. And now, depending on where the conversation goes, we'll probably go back into the pain of like, well, I'm curious, Bart, how badly do you want the girls, the travel, the boats? Well, I really want it. Why? Well, because, and as we go back into it, he's going to have to take us deeper into the pain. But because it's scriptless, we're kind of like weaving in and out of how we're getting there. And the only straight line that you need to follow is what's the most direct question to the truth at any moment on the call? And the obvious question right now is why is he not just doing wholesale real estate? Okay, so just go with there and see what Bart says. Is this all making sense, Jay?
yeah, it's making total sense.
What you did for the last 90 seconds was perfect. Very, very good. All right, keep going.
Cool. So, Bart, your friends are all living the life you want, the boats, traveling, the girls. They're all doing wholesale real estate. Is that accurate?
Yeah, they're all doing that.
Okay. Why are you not doing that with them?
Yeah. Um, I guess if I'm being really honest, Jay, it's a family business, and I just feel like I'd be letting my dad down.
Okay. In what way would you be letting him down?
Just like went to college. That was just the plan, and this, I'm on track, right? But doing this would be like off of that track that my dad would at least approve of, right? Like my friends dropped out of college.
Hmm. And you just graduated. Well, what does your dad want for you?
Ah, so you're gonna get too much into like
Is this
trying to be like a fucking preacher, like philosophically, like, well, what does your dad really want? Does he
but
want you
no,
to be happy?
that's
That kind of
that's
thing.
not where I'm going though. What I'm trying to
Okay.
understand is like um your dad wants you to be um I don't know, you just graduated. Like did he say like he wants you to work in the family business or um hmm,
Doesn't really
I
matter
guess
what his dad said. What matters is, and this is the thing, you got to just think abstractly. What is Bart's current position right now, mentally, spiritually, emotionally? Try and describe it, Jay.
behind um
Behind with what?
behind on behind his friends living the lifestyle he wants to live.
Yeah.
He's not forging his path.
So that's one side. There's one person that got it in the chat, and I'm not surprised who got it.
I'm not reading the chat.
Good, good.
Um,
Don't read the chat. That's good. So one side of it is he feels behind. He feels like he's not forging his own path. But what's the other side that we just uncovered?
he's
That
not meeting women.
no, that's all on one side. The
Yeah.
other side is that he's got the family business and he doesn't want to let his dad down.
Uh,
So if someone's got two positions, what is the position that they're in, Jay? If they've got two opposing positions,
he's conflicted.
100%. So all you've got to do, Jay, is express that. So, Bart, it sounds like, your friends are all doing one thing. You know exactly what they're doing. You probably know, how to do it. And they're living the life you want. But on the other side, you've got the family business, you've got your dad, you've got, not wanting to let them down. You sound like you're pretty conflicted. Is that accurate? Yes. So what are you going to do? That's all I would say, Jay. You sound pretty conflicted. So what are you going to do? And notice like all of the pressure is on Bart, not on me. I don't have to do anything. I'm just listening and just understanding. Okay, so you got this side, you got this side, pretty conflicted. So what are you going to do? And here's the thing. Whatever Bart says, I have an answer. If he says, well, I'm not really sure. Okay, so I'm curious then, if you're not sure, what led you to booking this call? Well, and now he's going to go back into, he is sure. He does know what he wants to do. He does know what he needs to do. And he's going to go in the direction of, well, I booked the call because truthfully, Jay, what I want is to follow my friends. Okay, well, how long have you wanted that? Okay, so you've wanted that for 2 years. You've been conflicted. Can I ask you, Bart, are you at the point where you're no longer willing to not go after what you truly want? Yes. Why? What changed? Okay, that makes total sense. Now, the other side of the conversation we would have to get into is, so what I'm not clear on now, Bart, obviously, is you've got all these friends that are doing wholesale real estate. Why do you need coaching or mentorship or training or a course? You could just try and
Yeah.
ask them what to do. And notice all of this is coming from detachment guys. Like I don't really care if he says, oh yeah, I could just go ask them. Okay, that's fine. So was there any particular reason you booked in a call if you've got access to your friends? Well, and then the moment you challenge the truth, guys, the truth actually comes out. Well, I feel like I'd be a bit of an annoyance if I keep asking my friends what to do and they're already so much further ahead than me. I don't want them to have to come back down to my level and start from basics. Makes total sense. So what are you going to do? Well, I guess I should probably just invest in a course. Why? Well, because I think realistically, I'm either going to lose my friends if I try and get them to show me the basics when they started 3 years ago and I was too busy, living out the family business, or, I could learn this on my own with training, course, mentorship, and keep my friends and catch up with them. Makes complete sense. So if that's the decision that you want to do, why do you want to learn with us? Well, you guys, blah, 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 blah. And notice how it's so basic. Like if all I'm doing is not trying to sell and just trying to listen to what's going on and ask questions about it, the prospect's going to do all of the work for you. Is that clear, Jay?
Yeah, it's absolutely clear. I think the like just getting to the truth is just so, as you said, it's so basic. Like you can just get there very directly without feeling the need to, oh, I gotta understand this first, and I gotta get this data. It's like the only thing. What's up, Art?
Hey guys, yeah, sorry, I've got to jump at the top of the hour.
No
Thank you
worries,
so
man.
much, guys. Really sorry about that.
Pleasure. Not
Jay,
at all, brother.
great job, and appreciate you.
All right, good stuff. Guys, we'll swap over to someone else to be the prospect that Bart was being. So we'll just carry on and just switch prospect. Chris is going to jump in. So what were you saying, Jay? Sorry, Bart had to just let us know he was leaving.
Yeah, I was just saying, getting to the truth is very simple and it's sort of obvious. Like the where you were telling me to take it, it's like, oh, I could have gone there. I was curious to go there. But I have neediness to feel like I need to understand a little bit more before I go there. Like I don't know why. Is that like an internal thing where am dancing around and not going right at it? Like, could there be something like I'm um avoiding? Um, because I because I don't think I'm afraid to go at the truth and have a tough conversation with somebody. But at the same time, I do feel a little bit of like I feel like I need to gather more data or sorry I'm having a tough time trying to articulate
Not
this.
at all.
Um,
It
but
probably comes from, and tell me if this sounds accurate, a conflict on your side. The conflict on your side is probably this. I'm just guessing based on experience. A part of you knows that you need to have a direct, real, truthful conversation. But there's also a fear that if I have a very direct and a very, straight to the point conversation, and I haven't gathered the data or gathered enough data, it might come across as I've got an agenda, like I'm attached to getting to the exact point that I want to get to. And that makes sense. There's kind of like a fear of like, well, like, am I going to show my hand that I'm trying to take this person to where I need to go? And the solution to that is you do need to have a direct conversation about the truth, but you're not having a conversation about the truth because you're trying to, like hammer a point down someone's throat. You're getting to the truth in a way that is completely detached. Like when I said to Bart in the role play, something to the effect of, so you've got all these friends that do drop shipping. Why don't you just go and learn from them? Like I'm literally pushing the prospect away. So on one hand, I'm getting directly to the truth, but on the other hand, it's coming from detachment. Whereas our fear as salespeople that are trying to learn this is my directness will come across as attachment, as in I'm so direct that I'm trying to control the conversation. But you can be both at the same time. And this is the conflict of identity that you have to learn is you can have a like you can have a person that is extremely direct and extremely to the point, but he also is so detached, like he just doesn't care. He's not going to get emotional whatever you do, whatever you don't do, but he's also direct. And the biggest reason that people struggle to get this is they've never had an inspiration or a role model in their life of someone that can embody this. They've had people in their life that are very chill, but also weak. And they've had people in their life that are very powerful, but very attached and very emotional and very intense. They very, 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 very rarely, if ever, met someone that can embody both sides of the equation. And so therefore you don't have a role model. You're like, how do I do that? Like, is that not impossible? How can I be direct, but also a Buddha? How can I be powerful, but also Zen? Well, that's when you're super self-actualized. You can be both. Does this make sense, Jay? So like you can show up as the version of Jay that's very to the point, but also completely zen and detached. And you just have to realize that that is an option. There is a third option. Option one, super chill, but basically just a rabbit, just weak. Option two, super direct, super powerful, but very attached and can rub people up the wrong way. But there's a third option which is able to tap into both, which is what my mentor taught me. He called it the benevolent alpha. And a lot of UM's friends used to call him something else, which is basically the same thing in different words, which is the Dom Buddha, which is like, think about the juxtaposition of those two things, guys, like a dominant Buddha. You're like, huh, what? The Dom Buddha. And that's the point. You have to be able to step into a version of you, an identity, a realization that is both of these sides of the equation at the same time. Whereas because you haven't realized there's a third stance, which is both sides, you know you can be direct, but you're afraid of stepping into that directness, which is why you were getting wrapped up in your head going, from a place of curiosity, I know what I want to ask, but I'm not going to ask that because, and the because is, if I'm too direct and too to the point, maybe I'm going to push the prospect away because it comes from attachment. And so you're like fighting your own abilities to be to the point because you don't want it to come across as attached. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, and I know what that state is like, but like I've been in that state. It's just more about like what's blocking it. And I think yeah, the way you explain that makes a lot of sense. Like there's um yeah, for some reason it's just not totally, it just wasn't clicking with me. And it
What
was
I
just
said
harder.
wasn't clicking. Or,
What
or
no, what you said was clicking, but like even when I like read my pre-call checklist before I started this role play, I just had a difficult time to even like step into it, like just being relaxed, unbothered by what the prospect thinks, totally chill, like just having a real conversation, like I have nothing to prove, or like I don't need anything from the prospect. I felt like everything was kind of just surface level, not really embodying it. Um, and so I didn't know what was stopping me from embodying that, and was wondering if it could be something um like that's just going on uh like not in a sales context, just like in my personal life.
is there stuff going on?
Is this
We're not
going
we're
on
not we're
YouTube?
not No, I'm not going to ask you what it is. Just yes or no question. Is there stuff going on?
Yeah.
Okay. So after the call for the rest of the week, you need to try and figure out a few things. Number one, how can you compartmentalize some of it? Can you put it to the side when you're on sales calls? And the other thing is, what is the most direct action or actions, depending on how many things you've got going on, that you can take to try and make progress in those things? And once you have clarity on, this is the most direct thing I can do, you want to work on those things as quick as possible.
Can I take a minute?
Sure. You want to put your camera off? Take as long as you need. All right, folks, while Jay's going through some things in his mind, who wants to come up and share some realizations from this call so far? Anybody got a takeaway or a question as well, or a realization? All right, we've got Jeremy.
No, I got one too.
All right, let's do Chris first because Chris is on the video. So what's your realizations, Chris?
Well, not having everything perfect and really chunking down the data collection and shorthanding things and just trusting that I'm just going to be able to remember these signposts. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's just going to embed something in my head. Then once I read that shorthand, that embed comes and I just trust it.
100%.
Yeah.
The more we try and write it in long form, the more we're actually telling ourselves, I don't have the capacity to remember these signposts. I need everything written out. And it's an identity of I need perfection, I need control, which is basically telling yourself I'm weak. I'm weak on the inside, so I'm trying to overcompensate for that with, you know, having the protection of standing in a castle with 20 feet tall walls around me to keep me safe. Well, then if you're the type of person that needs to keep yourself safe, what is that saying about you? It's telling you you're soft. You're fucking, you know, a marshmallow. So absolutely.
And then one more, if I may. Um, when we're talking, if we're using rationalizing words, that's going to transfer over to the prospect. So be very vigilant on the words that we use when communicating.
That's a huge one. Right, guys. And that comes from some similar stuff to what we were discussing with Jay, which is, oh, can I be that direct? Well, if that's the truth, yes. And not being as direct as it is not serving the prospect. If the prospect says, I'm not making I'm only making decent money, you wouldn't say, so you're only kind of really making not decent money. Like, that's so convoluted that you're downplaying it and it's not the truth. And therefore you're not serving the prospect. You have to say things as they are, knowing that the discomfort that may put the prospect in is what they need to be in to make a change. They need to face reality as crisply, coldly, sharply, bluntly as it actually is. Anything less than that, you're basically, you know, making it less likely that the prospect changes their situation, which is selfish. It's not caring about them. Great realizations, Chris. Anything else?
And then, yeah, there's two more things. So something that helped me that I saw recently from a guy, he said Buddha heart, demon hands. So Buddha heart, but demon hands. And it's not in a bad way, but he says you have to be able to go into the fire and do the things that are needed, but it's coming from a Buddha heart. And so being able to do that, I that was like a realization for me too. The other thing too is the double summary that you were talking about. There's a lot of information. Summarize it, lead first with pain, and then contextualize it with these are the reason why it's happening.
Yeah.
So those are big things for me.
Yeah. Keeping summaries broken up. Very good. All right. Who's next? So let me see. We had oh, fuck. We got tons. All right. We'll do Demario next. We're going to do a quick Q&A, Jay, and then we'll see where you're at. All right.
I've got a call at 2, so I mean, I don't know how long this is gonna go.
I don't think we'll be on for another 45 minutes. We'll probably be on for another 20 minutes. So let's see what we've got. Keep these points short, guys, and then we'll see if we jump back in. We'll check in with Jay. All right, Demario, what have you got?
What's up, fellas? I think the biggest thing is the try versus let. I think that's a mindset and inner conflict that I even have right now. I'm so attached to, like, I'm in the best mastermind, I gotta perform. And that's pushing me in a direction where I'm not doing the things I'm supposed to, or like overcompensating. And then the other thing, just to keep it short, which was that we can get to the point directly without having that fear of like we're having an agenda. So I think those are my two biggest ones.
Having an agenda is having an agenda, guys. Getting to a point is getting to a point. They're not the same thing. Someone can get to a point because they have an agenda, but someone can also get to a point and they don't have an agenda. They're just getting to the point. One is intention and one is process. My process is direct and I just get to the point. My intention is, why do I want to be direct? Do I want to be direct because I want to close you, get a commission, wrap you up in a little bow and make you say I'm buying? Well, that's a bad intention. Intention and process are not the same things. One is the system of how you're running the call, and one is the identity of your character and who you are as a person. Great realization tomorrow.
Those are two biggest things. One more is that this weekend I need to take the time to write down my standards plus my intentions when I get on these calls. So that's it.
Why are your standards? Why do you need to write those down?
I think because I allow my emotions to put me in, or like a call I did yesterday, I got the feeling that the guy was like super closed off. And I allowed that feeling to prevent me from doing what I need to do, which is going deep, doing everything that you're teaching, essentially.
Yep.
So I think that's why.
Makes total sense. All right, we've got Nikhil, and I'll bring up Jeremy as well. Sorry, Daniel as well, ready to go. All right, Nikhil.
Alrighty. So I had to leave halfway through for a bit, but I had takeaways from the beginning and from when I just recently joined back.
Beautiful.
So I think the biggest thing that stood out to me is when Jay was, overthinking the summary, and we went through it a few times, and then you're like, just say the words. Say like corporate job, whatever the words were, I don't remember. And then that struck me. I was like, holy fuck, that was powerful. And he didn't even say it, sent like to someone who doesn't know what's going on, like, what is this? But it was so powerful, and I was like, wow. Like, you don't need to have these elaborate fucking whatever. Just say the words that matter, and you don't need to say anything else.
Exactly.
Really cool.
It's about your accuracy, not your poeticism.
Yeah.
Like people aren't on the call because they're like, oh, are you fucking, storyteller? They're on the call because they're like, did you get the point? Yes, I got the point. You said this, 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 this. Is that accurate? Yes. Okay, wow. As opposed to, you said this, let me elaborate it in a poem. Then I missed a bit that you said. Then I changed a bit that you said. It's like, no, you didn't get the point. Like you're trying to be all fucking, Shakespeare, but actually you changed some of the things I said, missed some of the things I said, and didn't understand some of the things I said. Just understand, guys. Just be accurate in what you're writing down and then what you're saying. Okay, great,
and I think
great realization.
the issue is that we're a lot of the times, if I had to put myself in Jay's perspective, or even when I've done this in the past, we're trying to be you, Josh. But like the thing is like we're not you right now, and
True.
like we just need to do the lowest level of what is accurate still. Like we don't need to be able to take all of the stuff and then spit it together and then put them in this position and then fuck them up. Like just say the words, right? And that's still effective.
I don't want to make this sound big-headed, so sorry to use this analogy and referring to me because it's not what I think, but just for the analogy. It's like if you were watching Michael Jordan play basketball and fucking jumping to lay up the ball from the halfway line, and you're like, oh, I'm going to try that. It's like, no. Just run the ball to the bottom of the net and just put it in the net. Like you don't have to do a fucking, 7-second air time, and put the ball through your legs and twist around 360 and then dunk it. Like just put the ball in the basket. You don't have to, it's not a fucking, dunk show. And like that just comes with time, guys. Like with time, you're like, hey, instead of just putting the ball in the net, I'm going to put it behind my back first and then put it in the net. Sure, you can do that with time. But if you try and put it behind your back and then drop the ball, it's like, fuck, you should have just got it in the hoop as opposed to trying to, do, Harlem Street dancing with the basketball, right? So great example, Nicole, as far as just get the ball in the hoop, guys. You don't have to do it fancy. Any other points?
Yeah, my last thing is that, I mean, it just boils down to state at the end of the day. Like, I love the Benevolent Alpha or the Dom Buddha because I had to leave the call to go and collect payment from a guy who I ran a good discovery with. But for some reason, like, that was, my heart was beating out of my chest and I felt like my throat, like, kind of closing up a little bit. I was like, wow, why am I so anxious? Like, I already closed this guy. I'm just collecting payment. And it all comes down to the state, and I could feel him picking up on that a little bit. So I think the state is just so important, and doing the internal work, like that's the life-changing value in terms of like your performance. You need to fix the state and do the internal work, and then it'll all just flows after that. And I see, as I do it in my own life, I see myself getting better, and it just cements that lesson further, into my mind.
100%. Amazing takeaways, Nikhil. All right, bring up, Daniel next.
Yeah. So my biggest takeaway has something to do with what Nikhil said, because I feel like we have to start from the very beginning. And I was having the very same issue as Jay, because I was in my head while they were talking, trying to note it down, thinking about how was I going to say it back, and I missed everything they said. I got like the first two words, and then when I looked at the camera, I was like, what? It's like I was just like lost completely on the call. So what I started doing is not taking notes. I said, I'll get whatever I get. I threw the pen away and the paper away. I looked at the camera and listened. And after like a week, I was able to get some words while I was still looking at the camera, taking the time. So it will take time, but if you start from the beginning, it makes much more sense. Now, with the analogy you did. And the other takeaway is that the reason why I believe that happens is because Jay said something about I feel like I'm taking them to the pitch. I'm hurrying because I want to get to the pitch. And the reason I said that on in the chat, I'm actually going to read it because I don't want to miss anything. I said the reason why we're trained not to show, like all of my sales trains before, is that do not show your intentions, hide them, be just beat around the bush a little bit so they don't see where you're trying to go, is because we're trying to get them to the pitch, not to the truth, right? So script allows you to just don't that I was talking to Don the other day about this because I'm about to start another offer for the weekends because the owner of my offer doesn't want me to work on weekends, and I feel like I need to talk to more people right now. So I think it's going to be amazing because I'm going to basically be doing the discovery and at the end thinking, okay, what am I pitching today? And it's like, but I know the truth, right? It's not exactly like that, but I feel like being detached from the vehicle that I'm going to offer allows me to take the call to the truth, not to the pitch. And I feel
100%.
like only scriptless will allow you to do that. That's what I wanted to acknowledge what Jay said. You're not going to be hurrying to pitch if you're not sure even if you're going to pitch, right? You
Exactly.
just take them to the truth. Hurry to the truth, not to the pitch, and then
100%.
everything will make more sense.
Great realizations. All right, Michael.
Yeah, so the great takeaway I had was connected to a call that I had today when I started overthinking and I tried something which worked very well for me. I have put myself in the idea of as if the person in front of me was a new friend that I want to get to know. And it completely switched my energy. It was genuine curiosity. So I had no agenda at that moment. I was fully focused. I didn't write a lot, just a few keywords, but everything was clear, just like a puzzle where the pieces were just assembling each other together. And I liked really I liked that way of doing things, and it really connected with what I saw with the overthinking.
Yeah. The biggest thing to change how you approach the sales call, guys, is change your perspective of what a sales call is. If your perspective is we're on a sales call, you're going to feel a lot of pressure. If your perspective is I've got a program, I've got a product, I've got a service, it might be a fit, it might not, but right now I'm just going to talk to this human being and see if we even get to the product or the service. Maybe we don't. I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just trying to get to know you and your story in relation to the problem that you told me you have right now, which is why we always start with a specific opening question. All right, Zion.
Yeah, I'll keep it short because a lot of the takeaways are basically the same kind of stuff. First of all, Jay, by the way, when your intention is to focus on the truth, you fly through the call. Like when you started going, I put it in the chat, like it was probably like without the pauses, a 7-minute discovery, and you were already like in a deep, deep spot. So just keep in mind, like, don't intend to get them to the pitch, intend to get them to the truth. Exactly like what Daniel said. And another kind of light bulb moment for me was I used to serve. So when I was like 18 to 20, I was a server, and going in, it's like you want to write down the order, right? But instead of like buffalo sandwich, as I got better and better, I'd write like buff S, no T. It's the same exact concept, right? And as you continue to do that, you'll get better at understanding your own or the way that you shorten words, and then like note taking is just easy at that point. So I think that was just like a good like light bulb moment for me.
That's a great example. Really good example. All right, Bradley.
So I have a very quick, very woo-woo kind of takeaway. And I really want to share this because me and Dom were talking about this for like 30 minutes before we even jumped on this role play in the morning. And it's kind of hard for me to articulate, but it's the idea of the third dimensional realm being the realm of polarity and things are black and white, things are either good or bad, etc. And I feel like when you're actually in a position to where you can work and operate within those juxtapositions, and not have that porn duality piece side of you, it means that you're actually transcending the third dimensional realm. You're actually becoming more self-actualized.
Yep.
So like whether it's the idea of, okay, you can be direct, but at the same time you can be unattached. And when you can operate within those two ideas, which seem to be very contradictory, it just means that you're becoming more self-actualized. And me and Dom were just talking about that for like 30 minutes this morning. So it's so funny how this all came together. So I really have to share.
Love that. All right, Don.
All right. Good morning. So yeah, my big takeaway was being direct and unattached. Because if you would have asked me, Don, are you going into this call attached or unattached? I would have said, man, unattached, because I'm really good at like, okay, I don't care whether I get the sale or not. But what I realized in what you were talking about is I've been attached to how to get there, and been attached to a specific process. And then that tied back into all of the stuff I was initially missing in these notes, because I was so focused on, okay, well, I'm waiting for him to say, okay, not enough money. Okay. But I'm so focused on that I'm missing all of the other stuff as far as forge my own path and my friends, because I'm attached to my path. When I let go of my path, I can be open and see all of this stuff and see which path this person needs to go on. This was Jay, you have no idea how many people you helped with this, man, taking the notes. And
100%.
I'm telling you, brother, we were in the chat and we were like, man, this is amazing. So thank you so much.
100%. All right, folks. So Jay, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling a lot better.
Good.
I think I realized something that I didn't have clarity on before that I need to handle. I mean, I don't have it down perfectly, but yeah, it's just the importance of having your shit figured out outside of the call. I can't be bringing that stuff on.
Would you like to share briefly what it is? You absolutely don't have to. No. Okay,
No.
perfect. Awesome. All right. Do you want to jump back into the role play? That's a no.
Not exactly.
No. All right, brother. No problem. Do you have any takeaways that you want to share, and then we'll wrap up? Again, if you don't have any, or you don't want to.
No, I think I shared them
All right,
I
brother.
mean throughout the call, but
No worries. Like everyone said, it was extremely helpful for everybody. Sometimes when we role play, we think that we're further behind than everybody else. But when you see the chat, you realize, oh, everybody else is struggling with the same thing. It's just not everybody is role playing. So it's kind of like, oh, unfortunately, the person that does the role play is the one that becomes kind of the example for everybody of what we're all struggling with. And that's unfortunate in one way. But the other side of it is you're the one leading everybody. You're the one showing everybody, hey, I'm willing to put my hands up and say, I'm kind of struggling with this. I'm getting a bit anxious on the calls, struggling to note take, keep track of everything. Got some personal stuff going on that is starting to bleed over into my sales calls. Everybody else in the chat is saying, oh, yeah, I'm struggling with that as well. So that's just a key point to realize, guys, that you're just going to jump on the call and you'll probably be demonstrating what everybody's struggling with. All right, let's finish up. We'll do Bart's takeaways, realizations, questions, and then I'll finish off with a summary, and then we'll call it a day, guys. All right, Bart, what have you got?
Yeah, just my biggest takeaway, Jay, and that was super helpful for me too. I definitely am hyper aware that I can be verbose or like wordy in my recaps, and then also trying to just like chunk or segment down everything that they're telling me and trying not to get too caught up or overwhelmed in like the amount of information I'm getting. So what you're able to put forward, and just in terms of like the simple bullet points just to go back to, and even if that is how I recap it, it's going to be better if I just am clear and show the person, hey, I'm on the ball, I'm not getting lost in my words. And if I do, and I trip and I feel that little cringe where it's like, hey, I'm being way too wordy, just keep going, just keep going and be present and just, recenter yourself. So that was a great reminder for me. But Jay, I think you did awesome. You're in the hot seat. It was easy for me as the prospect. So good on you, man, for stepping up even, when you don't feel so good.
100%. All right, guys, let's wrap up. So put in the chat if you were to summarize what we discovered on that call What was the biggest universal cause of all of the things that we had to train on today on the call? Put it in the chat. State, attachment versus detachment, being in your head, state, 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 bunch of people putting state. Okay. So when you put state, guys, what do you mean? DeMario, inner conflict, internal stuff needs to be handled. I think Christian means handled. There you go. That's the big one, guys. We started the call, as we always will, with tactics. Okay, let's go through note taking. Let's go through how to focus on the burning problem. Let's go through talking more directly and being quicker in getting through the call. Everything starts with the external tactics. But what we soon discover is that the reason you're slipping up on the external presentation or execution is that there is something internally that's going on. We saw very clearly for Jay, he's got some stuff going on. I could have told you that, guys. When Jay was like getting a bit up in his head, getting a bit anxious, I could have been like, meh, Jay's not himself. There's some stuff going on. Whether I would have gotten into it or not was entirely up to the fact that Jay kind of brought it up. And that's always going to be the case, guys, which is why if you want to be a good salesperson, you want to help a lot of people, you want to make a lot of money, you have to get your internal stuff down. You have to lock it down. Your internal stuff will always bleed into your calls and affect you. It will affect your income because it will affect your performance. And your performance is directly tied to your income. So that's why we start with the launch pad. But as you go through the launch pad, it's not an 8-week process, guys, where, oh, I finished the launch pad. No, guys. Those 8 weeks are to build the foundational skills and tools and awarenesses that you need to carry for the rest of your life. For example, the state checklist is not something you learn in the beginning and you write it and then that's it. You just use it on your calls. The whole point of the state checklist is to realize my moment-to-moment state is going to affect my performance and my results. And if I'm not aware of my state, how do I currently feel, and then shift my state into something that's going to serve the task at hand, I won't get the results I want. It's the principle of being aware of your state and being able to move your state moment to moment that's what the pre-call checklist represents, guys. So everything is that we've gone through today all comes down to the internal bleeding over into the external. So let's get into some examples of what those were. Your attachment of your intention versus the directness of your process. If you do not have your internal mastery down, if you're not working on it, if you're not dialing it in, your intention is going to be incorrect and your process will be indirect. If you're the type of person that feels like, oh, I'm just going to kind of beat around the bush, that comes from inside of you. That's internal. It's not, oh, I didn't learn the fucking scripted process. That's inside of you, that you're not someone that is efficient, is effective, is direct and to the point. If you're someone that has the wrong intentions, you're attached, you want to get to your pitch, you want to close a sale, that's also internal mastery, guys. So your intention and your process, both of those will come from internal. Another one, trying versus letting. Trying to make things happen and control things and perfectionist mindset all comes from your character versus just allowing things to happen. If and when you can allow things to happen, that's a result of your character starting to become more complete. I'm okay with who I am. I love myself the way I am. Everything's fine. I'm not falling to pieces. Everything's going to be okay. That's all character. It starts with your self-image. Another one, rationalizing. When the prospect says something and you as the closer put in some rationalizing words. Oh, really? Or kind of, or sort of, or maybe. You put the rationalizing in because of your character. You're not confident to just be to the point and be direct. So your external expressions, putting in those little words, are a representation of your internal identity. Notice the pattern, guys. Internal, external, always. Keeping your summaries simple versus trying to be a poet and trying to be Shakespeare. Again, comes from internally thinking, oh, I have to be this performer. I have to be Josh. I have to be I have to be Michael Jordan. I have to fucking, do a 360 upside down backflip dunk. It's like, no, you just got to put the ball in the hoop. That's all you got to do, guys. Sure. over time, you can become a performer. If you want to close like me, or you want to close however you want to close to be funny or entertaining, you can add that stuff in later to be the performer. But before being a performer, you have to have the performance, meaning, did you get the ball in the hoop? Then you can do it with finesse, with grace, with all of these little flashy moves. You can do that with time. But it all comes from the internal guys trying to be this performer. You're trying to prove something that you don't need to prove. All you've got to do is just, this is my job. I turn up to a sales call and I go through the points, step by step by step. That's it. Another one is state. Just generally, what state are you in? Are you anxious? Are you overthinking? Or are you just chill and grounded and where you need to be on the call? So overall, guys, all of this stuff starts with understanding the connection between the internal and the external. If you have problems externally, it's always going to stem the root cause from something internal. Does that all make sense, folks? All right, guys. Anybody got any points they want to add? Anything you want to share? Put your hand up now before we wrap up, guys. Going once. Going twice. Zion. All right. Anybody else? Put your hand up, guys. All right. I'm just going to bring up Zion.
Yeah, really quick. It was just a quick reminder for me. Because like you say it a lot, when you are role playing with us, we always make it super freaking hard, right? So you're doing a lot more than is typically needed, which makes you even look like a better MJ, right? When truly, when we just go on these calls, and truly when we just go on these calls and, we just follow the steps, do the things, it typically is a lot easier, when it's done correctly. But it always doesn't always have to be, like you said, 360 windmill East Bay. You know what I'm saying? So that's just something that came to my mind as well.
That's a great example. Yeah, guys, you probably watch me role play and you're like, holy shit, Josh is going for 45 minutes in a discovery. Like, how can I be done in 12 minutes? It's like, because when we're role playing, guys, you're asking me to do fucking backflips. So usually I wouldn't be doing a backflip dunk. I would just be bouncing the ball up the court, putting it in the net, going back and doing it again. Like nothing flashy, nothing fancy. That's why some of you have listened to my calls in the mastermind, and some of you can hear that I'm doing some certain things, being very present, challenging the prospect. But overall, you're like, you're not really doing anything that extravagant. It's like, yeah, guys, because they're real calls. Real calls, it's like if you watched me on a real call, you'd be like, oh, that's boring. If I put one of my real calls on YouTube, would get 0 views because they'd be like, oh, it's just a normal call. Yeah, because if I actually have the right state and I do the data gathering, you're not going to watch me do any fancy reframes, guys, or objection handling or, any crazy analogies, because I don't need to. And the irony is, I'd rather be a basketball player that doesn't have to do a backflip to perform to the crowd every time I step on the court. And if I don't do a backflip, people are like, boo, no backflip, you suck. It's like, we still won the game. Like, what do you want me to do? Fucking quadruple backflip next time? And that's the other thing is, it's like, well, if I do a backflip this time, what do you want next time? A double backflip? Well, how far does that go? How much more do you want me to perform? In reality, guys, all you've got to do is the basics. Show up in the right state. Go through the data. Focus on the problem. Summarize accurately. And make the prospect have a choice to do what they want to do. What do you want to do? Do you want to continue in your family business, making your dad proud and watching all of your friends live the lifestyle that you want, and you know exactly how you could be living that lifestyle too by wholesale real estate? They've got the girls, they've got the boats, they've got the travel. Or do you want to make a shift right now? That's all I'm doing, guys. I'm just asking the prospect, what do you want to do? You're clear on the problem. I'm clear on the problem. It's time for a choice. And that's it. Very simple stuff. All right. Great realization, Zion. Amazing. All right. I don't know who was next. Chris?
Yeah, this is more of a question, and it might be appropriate for Wednesday, but the chunking down of information, like even I find myself, it'll take 5, 6, 7 questions to get all this information. And how you chunk down the information from 6 to 7 questions to 3 to 4 questions. What's like a good framework to use in doing that?
when I'm looking to gather data and chunk down, my core framework is this chunking down into pain or problem, or is this chunking down into background tertiary information? Very rarely do I want tertiary information. I want to chunk down into more direct pain, more direct pain, more direct pain. Like I've seen a lot of you ask it, and sometimes asks it depending, but like if I'm selling a business thing, I frankly don't really care what their offer is. Like, oh, what's your offer? Does that matter? It's like, how much money are you making? No money. Why not? That's what I care about. How's not making money affecting you? Oh, it's affecting my wife. It's affecting my kids. Do I really need to know that they're selling an AI offer, or they're selling a fitness coaching thing, or, that doesn't really matter to me. So when I'm chunking down, I'm not looking for more information. I'm looking for more pressure points. Does that make sense, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like and this is why it's contextual. In the example we had today, more information would have been, how much did you make this month? 8K. How much did you make last month? 8K. How much did you make the month before? 8K. Those second two questions is information. It's not pressure. How much did you make? 8K. How do you get paid? Fixed salary. So how long have you only been at 8K? How long have you only been at 8K? Decent money. That's pressure, because I'm pressing on the pain. Now I needed a middle question in there to make it clear why I'm asking that question, which is, how do you get paid? Well, I get paid a fixed salary. Okay, so when you say you make decent money, it's also fixed. Is that accurate? Yes. So how long has it been stuck at just 8K? 2 years. So out of those three questions, the one in the middle was like a bridge, but the two, the first and the third, were pressure points. Whereas if I'd have done, how much do you get paid this month, last month, the month before, the final two questions are just background information. It's not moving the call forward in any way, shape, or form. Does that make sense for my kind of process?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Okay.
Great
Gotcha.
question.
Yeah. Thank you.
No, my pleasure. All right. Final stuff from Nikhil. Let me just check if nobody else has put their hand up. Yep. All right, Nikhil.
So I have a question
Go for it.
on the point of like trying versus, letting things happen, like allowing them to happen. You mentioned that comes from like our self-image, right? And I wanted to understand that relationship of like, how does our self-image create that, external behavior?
Yeah, the more we're not feeling content or feeling complete, the more we're trying to get completeness by having a effect on the world. It's like, if you're bored in your life, what are you going to do? You're going to go out and try and create drama, go and try and be at parties, go and try and be seen and have an impact moving through the world. It's almost like a boat. You want to have the wake behind you. Whereas if you're complete, the boat would just be stationary and it's just sat there bobbing up and down on the water. It's not plowing through the water, leaving a big trail behind it. And so if you're content with yourself, just with what you have, then you're not trying to create an earthquake around you where people go, oh, look at the giant earthquake that Nikhil caused. And like, you want to be noticed, you want to be seen, which comes from, the only person that I need to see is myself. And that's all I care about is, am I content with my own, impact on my own life? Does that make sense? It's also, and this is why when you're not willing to look yourself in the mirror at the things that you need to change, you project onto other people and say, hey, you're not doing this, or you're not doing that, or you need to do this, you need to do that. The more you look inside yourself and you go, I know what I need to do, and I just need to face my demons, my things that I need to do. When you're on the phone with a prospect, you just say, hey, this is the truth, this is the facts. What do you want to do? You're not saying you need to do this, you should do this, because when you start doing that, it's usually because you're not willing to look at your own stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes complete sense. And I that's what I thought, because it was a realization I had in my own life, maybe a few weeks back. But no, I like the way that you outlined it. It's like, for us as a closer, it's like, okay, well, I need to make all of this money because that's going to help me feel like better about myself rather than, being content with yourself and actually loving yourself first. So yeah, it makes complete sense.
Beautiful. All right, folks, that is us for today. I'll see y'all on Wednesday's live training and Inside School. Great stuff, everybody. Also, really respect and appreciate the support to Jay. It's definitely not easy coming up and doing the role plays, but hopefully Jay's continued to inspire all of you. If you haven't role played yet, just come and do it. You might get a bit upset, you might feel a bit of pressure, but if you can't handle being a bit upset or a bit of pressure, you're not going to develop the ability to stand in that space with your prospects when they're feeling the pressure, when they're feeling upset, when they're feeling, oh my God, I need to make a decision. If you train yourself to be the prospect, in other words, you're the closer on the call, but you're the prospect to me. Like I'm the trainer and you're my prospect as I'm training you. If you are willing to get in that position and go through that discomfort, you'll find it a hell of a lot easier to do that with your prospects. All right, folks, good stuff. I'll see y'all in school. Later, guys. Bye. All right, there you have it. Another high-ticket sales role play. As we discussed, the internal always precedes the external. If you're not making the money that you truly want to be making in sales, it all comes down to you. You're not showing up. You're not putting in the work. You haven't aligned yourself with a mentor, and you are not in a community that is pushing you to raise your standards. If you're ready to change that so you can start making the money that you actually want to be making, click the link below this video and join the Unicorn Closer Mastermind. Get around the other unicorns and start showing up, putting in the work. I will train you, I will mentor you, and we will get you to the next level. I'll see some of you on the inside of the Unicorn Closer Mastermind.